Hi there, it's Anna from Inspiration Playground. Today I'd like to show you how to make this gorgeous lantern that I've created. Obviously it's got a little battery operated tea light candle in it. It opens at the bottom so you can put that in and out. So yeah, that's the project for today. So I'm featuring today the Hearth and Home Framelit dies, which has the beautiful window framelit Thinlit in there. Okay, so I'm just using this piece today. I'm not using the windowsill at all for this project. So what I've done is I've actually gone ahead and already cut 4 of those windows in my basic black cardstock. So I'm using all black cardstock today. So I've gone ahead and cut those already. I've also gone ahead and cut 4 pieces of vellum. Okay, so those are sized 6 by 8 centimeters, and those will be designed to go in behind the window Thinlit. So you can use the window sheets like I did in the project that I created earlier, but I have no window sheets left, so that's why I'm using vellum for you today. The next step is you need 4 of these pieces. Okay, so basic black cardstock again, it's 6.5 by 7.5 centimeters. Those are going to create your roof. Okay, I've also got a piece of cardstock, basic black again, 12 centimeters by 16 centimeters, and then another that is 20 centimeters by 16 centimeters. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to put the vellum in the back of my window Thinlits. So I've already done the other 3, and I'm using double-sided tape on this only because my fast fuse will not cooperate when I am videoing. So it's the only reason that I'm using double-sided tape on the back of this today. Okay, so we've got all of our windows prepped and ready to put on the project. So what I want to do next is I want to bring in my Stampin' Up trimmer. Now I'm going to use the scorer and the trimmer for this project. So with these pieces, so these were your 6.5 by 7.5. What I want to do is on the 7.5 centimeter side, I want to line that up on my trimmer at 1 centimeter and score down the longest side there. Now I'm going to turn it around and find the exact half, so it'll be 3 3/4 centimeters, and just use my scorer to make a little mark along the top. So you can see, hopefully right in the top there, I've just made a little score line there. So I'm going to use this score line now to go from here to the corner. Okay, so we're going to score that piece. So I just line up top, middle with the 1 centimeter score corner there, and just score down the side. I turn it around and I'll just do the same. So as I said, this is going to create your roof. Okay. What I'm going to do then is I'll just move it out to the 1 centimeter line there, and I'm just going to trim it off. And the same for this side. So what you've got then is your piece of card that has your triangle and then 1 centimeter edge around each. The only other thing that I want to do before I put all of this together is I just want to miter the edges along the bottom. Okay, so that will just help when we're putting the project together. So I've already done the other 3. I just need to miter those because I didn't think you'd want to sit through while I scored and cut all of those. So I'll just go ahead and do that. Okay, and those pieces now will be ready to form your roof. So we'll put those aside as well. So the next piece that you need to bring in is your piece that's 12 by 16 centimeters. So using your paper trimmer again, what we need to do, actually I'll use the top of it so you can see, is we need to score it at the 15 centimeter mark and then the 7.5 centimeter mark. Then what I want to do is I just want to turn it 90 degrees and then score it 1 centimeter down each side. So just line it up at the 11 centimeters here. Okay, and turn it around and we'll line it up at 11 centimeters there again and score that part. So while we've got this piece, we'll miter the edges of this one as well. Oops. Okay, now once that's done, it's kind of the tricky part, I guess. So what we want to do is we want to line your score line up here at the 1 centimeter mark. This one here. Okay, bring your paper trimmer down and I want you to cut from 23.5 down to 28.5. Sorry, not 23, 22.5. There it is, down to 28.5. It's a bit hard to see on the black cardstock this afternoon. Okay, so you've got a cut line through there. Then move it over and line this score mark up with the centimetre on this side of your paper, on paper trimmer. Okay, and do the same thing. So 22.5 down to 28.5. We'll move it over further and then we'll line the same score line but on the other side at 1 centimetre, and we'll do the same, 22.5 down to 28.5. And then what we're going to need to do is just turn it around the other way and line your edge up on that 1 centimetre. And cut down again, 22.5 to 28.5. Now what I did then is I turned it so it was on a portrait orientation there, and I just eyeballed the lines where they ended here and then just cut between the two lines or two pieces that I'd cut. I cut there and then lifted my trimmer up and then placed it down to cut between those two. Then what we want to do is turn it around and do exactly the same. So we'll just eyeball that and we'll just cut down. Okay, so from there what you should be able to do is just push out the squares. So these are the pieces that, or these holes are where your windows are going to go over on your lantern. Now, still using this piece of card, we're actually not going to need this section, not that section. Hang on, let me think about it. This section here. Okay, so you've got your flush side here. We're not going to need this piece, so we're going to cut that off. Okay, so this is with that one. This is what your first piece will need to look like. Okay, so you can go ahead and just fold all of those score lines down and just fold them back out again. Okay, so that'll be your first piece. Okay, now bring in this second. This is the larger piece, so this was the 20 centimetre, by 16. Okay. And what we're going to do again is we're going to line it up so on the portrait orientation, we'll line it up at 15 centimeters and score that. We'll line it up at 7.5 and score that. Now what we'll do is we're going to turn it, but this time we are going to line it up and bring that piece out at 18.5. And then 11. We'll just turn it around because we just want the 1 centimeter here. Now, there's only one extra piece that we need to do here, is because this part here is, we're going to lose some of this. We need some of the flap to go in underneath the, where you fold in your lantern. That's what I'm trying to say, sorry. So it's going to be this piece here. So I'm just lining it up at 12.5 and I'm just going to score this half. Don't worry, because I'll show you exactly how your piece will need to look once we've cut it out. So once again, we need to do the cutting of the windows. So I'm lining it up at 1 centimeter along here. And then again, cutting from 22.5 down to 28.5. Sorry, I hope my head wasn't in the way there for you. Okay, line your score line up at this centimetre on the other side, or -1 maybe. And 22.5 down to 28.5. Put this score line on the other side, so it's at the 1 centimetre line. 22.5 down to 28.5. And then we'll turn it around and line your score line up on the 1 centimetre, and we're going to go here from 21 up to, we've got 15. Okay, so just eyeball that again and we'll cut these squares out. So cut between those two, lift up your trimmer and then cut between those two. Turn it around and do the same on the other side. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get rid of my trimmer now, and I will just pop out those pieces. If they don't come out easily, just use your paper snips to get them out. Okay. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is just miter the top part. And there. Now this piece here, which is a piece that doesn't have the score line through, is going to be a flap for the bottom. So we want to cut up this one. That's going to come out. So it wasn't very straight, was it? And all the way up on this one as well. Okay, and then we can cut across this second line. Okay, and we'll just miter that one. And then I actually just bring in my corner rounder to do the corners on this piece. So I'll just fold those score lines. Okay, so your piece should look, when it's upside down, should look like this. Okay, oh, there you go. So that's what it should look like. Okay, so what I'm going to do first is I'm just going to turn those over and I'm going to just pop my windows on. So this one I've already put some double-sided tape on. So I'll just pop that in my... So I'm just being careful to line it up in the hole because you don't want any of this part showing through. Okay. Now I'm actually going to use my glue to put the rest on. Now, it is recommended that you use some stronger glue than normal or double-sided tape. Reason being, the first lantern that I made, I came into my craft room the next day, and because I'd used double-sided tape, the whole roof was open. So use your so I'm just using the Tombow multi-purpose. Look at that, I've already put double-sided tape on there. The double-sided tape will work for the windows, but when it comes to actually putting together your lantern, make sure you use something a bit stronger, right? So we've got all our windows on. So just turn these back over. Because what we're going to do is bring in our roof pieces. Now, I want you to score along the longest edge. Okay, so just fold that in. And the reason that I'm working upside down or with the inside of the lantern out is so that I can use the desk to line the roof up flush. Okay, because I don't want it out of whack at all. So I just put my glue along there, and then I want to line up where my score line comes down on the roof piece to the score line that comes up on the inside of the lantern. Okay, so there's the first one. So as you can see, and like with a lot of my projects, once you've done the prep work, they do come together quite quickly. Okay, so there's the second one. So I've done exactly the same there, lined up my score line with this score line on the actual body of the lantern, and the score line where it comes down on the roof peak here, up with the edge here, or the score line on the edge there. So I'll just go ahead and do the other two. Okay, so I've got all of those on. Now what I want to do is I want to pop this one together. So join those two pieces together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to line them up first. So we're lining up the roof here and the score line here with the base, and then we can just push that down. So as you can see, all the measurements are made so that it fits together perfectly without wasting too much cardstock. Okay, so I'll just fold these up because I want to put the other on now. So I'm just folding in the top piece and I'm putting my glue on top there, And then I'm going to bring up this piece here and just push it down on top. So that's the way that I build my box, so that I know that it's straight, and when I open it up it's not going to be all crooked. Okay, so then we can kind of push it up into the square. We'll just fold in those two flaps on the bottom, and this one should fit perfectly in there. Okay, so to do the roof, we just want to fold those score lines. So we'll fold all of them. The reason that I leave the roof until last is because it's much easier when you can have it sitting up like this. It's much easier to handle. Now, before I do start gluing that together, I've just got some of the new gold ribbon from the Holiday Catalogue. And what I want to do is I just want to make like a little thing to hang it with. So I've just got some double-sided tape. You can put it on any one of the roof pieces like this. As long as it's right in the middle, it'll just come out the center. Okay, so we'll start with this one. I'm going to glue along there and then pop that together. So it'll take a few seconds just to stick. There's my puppy dog again. I'm sure he makes appearance in all of my videos. There's no show without punch. So I'll do the next one. Just fold it under a little bit, and then we can just be careful with this not to use too much glue, because it will come out the top of the roof. Okay, so I'll just manipulate that. I'm going to fold in these pieces, and then I can put my glue along that scored edge and that scored edge and just hold them in and pop it in there. So what I then do is I just open up the bottom and just go at it from the inside, just to make sure they're all stuck together properly, right? Close it back up, and there you have your lantern. So I've created a just a poinsettia to go on the front of it, and this one's from the Holiday Catalogue. So check out my video on how I made this one as well. That will be up as well. So I'm just going to use some glue dots to attach that to my actual lantern. Now, just a tip, if you're using window sheets in your lantern, you may want to create your poinsettia on a circle base, simply because when you look through the back, so you can see where I kind of dodged it up. So just a little tip for you. So I'm just going to pop that on there, and then I can open my lantern up and pop my tea light candle in, and you can kind of see it flickering. It's a bit too light at the moment. So I hope you enjoyed my tutorial. As always, all of the products that I've used today will be on my website, and you can purchase them through my Stampin' Up shop. Thanks again for watching. See you next time. Bye. Harry says bye too.